Welcome to the Pint Glass Football Podcast.
Pint Glass Football. I'm your host, Brad Fowler. What's up, PGF Nation? Today, we're going to look ahead to some of the best games in the NFL Week 2 and college football Week 3, give you our thoughts and make some betting picks. But joining me, of course, my co-host, Alex Higdon. Alex, what is going on?
Kind of a slow week 1 for fantasy as well as the NFL, but I expect it to pick up here, especially with the rookies.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And if you guys haven't already, go back and listen. We just did an NFL Week 1 recap, talking about some college football Week 2. A lot of good stuff there on an episode that came out earlier this week. But time to look ahead. Let's start with the Thursday night football game, Alex. Buffalo Bills at Miami Dolphins, division rivalry game. Two teams that are coming into this game 1-0. Look, historically, Josh Allen has absolutely owned the Miami Dolphins with a career 11-2 record against this team. But Miami is currently the favorite in this matchup. They opened up as a 1-point favorite. It's moved all the way now. Most books have it as a 2.5-point favorite. What are you looking for in this matchup, and who do you like here, Alex?
Well, I can tell you out the gate, I'm definitely laying the 2.5 and going with Miami here. I think Buffalo, when you still have Josh Allen, you're always going to have a chance because you have Josh Allen. But looking at the All-22, there was a lot left on the field for me from Josh Allen. I know it looked great in real time. There was a lot of unnecessary hero ball being played. But I will say on the defensive end, because that's where this game will be won, where the game will be won and will be obviously offense for the Dolphins. But the back end of that Dolphins defense is not good at all. And one thing we know is that Mike McDaniel is going to be able to scheme up some things. I expect Jalen Waddle to get back on his horse from last year, and they don't have anything past that front four when it comes to Tyreek Hill. If they don't get any pressure, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will be daily fantasy picks and will have big games, and I think they will beat them by 10.
Wow. Okay. Bold take there with the 10. I'm taking the Bills here. I think plus 2.5. Now there's officially value here for a team that, like I said, has absolutely struggled against the Bills in recent seasons. Now, look, I know that's on the road. They're going to be dealing with the heat, but here's the thing. It's a night game. So I don't think the heat is that big of a factor. Now, typically, short week Thursday night games, it tends to favor the home team. I get that. But Josh Allen has dominated this team. I think he continues to do so in this matchup. I'm going to take the Bills plus the 2.5 points here because I think there's some value there. Alex, how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Detroit against the Lions here? I'm looking at Detroit as a 7-point favorite. Some books, 7.5-point favorites. Look, this is a rematch of a playoff game from last season. The Lions won that game, of course, made that run to the NFC Championship game. But I like what I've seen from Tampa Bay so far. This team looks good. Baker Mayfield has been playing some really good football, and he started off the year hot. I like these wide receivers in this matchup against a really shaky and banged up secondary. Give me the Bucks plus the points, and I'm going to put some money on the money line. I could see an upset alert here, Alex, for Tampa Bay.
And once again, I am going in the opposite direction. This is the Lions at home. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a top 5 defensive player of the year. And that line, for me, it may jump into the top 3 as this year goes along. I don't think I like Tristan Wirfs, but I think what the Lions have going on that defensive backfield that they finally fixed, and that offensive line, when they decide they don't want you to do anything, you're not going to do anything. But again, this will be a game that I think will be won in the trenches. It's specifically, like I talked about, Aiden Hutchinson and at the Lions defensive line against the Buccaneers, but also dealing with Vita Vea on the other side for that Lions offensive line, which we saw how dominant it was. But I'm going to stick with the Lions at home, and I'm going to actually, you know what? No, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to lay the 7.5 and take the Lions.
Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City, 6-point favorites in this one. Look, the Bengals were terrible Week 1 loss to the Patriots. They don't look very good. This is going to be a desperate football team in a desperate situation here against a really good Chiefs team, a Chiefs team that looked really sharp in week 1. I don't know what to make of Cincinnati right now, Alex. This team looked so shaky against the Patriots. Maybe it's just a slow start, but Kansas City absolutely looks every bit like the defending champs right now. I can't go against the champs here, Alex. I've got the Chiefs, and I think they cover the 6 points.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think the Bengals, typical as the Bengals have done when Joe Burrow's healthy, wink, wink, they start out slow and then they go on a run. But Jamar Chase not being around for most of, trying to get his contract done. So there's going to be some leeway there. We also don't know about T. Higgins. He's still on the mend, and we don't know if he's going to play or not. And then on the other side of that, the Chiefs, I just think that the tandem of Andy Reid play calling as well as Matt Nagy, and then the execution of Patrick Mahomes is going to be too much for the Bengals. That offensive line that the Chiefs have is very, very good, specifically really from right to left. The only thing that you're worried about is Jawan Taylor on that offensive line. I actually think this may be a good rushing game for Isaiah Pacheco, fantasy alert. So I'm looking at the Chiefs. And even though it's in quote unquote Burrowhead, I'm looking at the Chiefs covering and winning this game by 2 touchdowns or more.
Wow, calling for the blowout. I like it, Alex. How about Bears at the Texans in Houston? Look, Houston right now is about a 6.5 point favorite, depending on what sportsbook you look at. This is going to be the Sunday night football game. This is going to be the first road test for Caleb Williams. Had a shaky start in that win against the Titans. I think he bounces back and has a better performance here. But I think this Texans team might just be for real. I'm starting to really buy into this team and what they're doing. I like the additions they made this offseason. I think DeMeco Ryans in this team just has a little too much firepower on both sides of the ball for this young Bears team to deal with. Give me the Texans. I think they cover the 6.5.
I'm gonna take the Texans, but I think the Texans will win, but I think the Bears are gonna play a tougher game, and we're gonna see a good game, not a breakout game, a good game from Caleb Williams. Those misses that we saw in the first game, I was just gonna chalk that up to first game jitters. I think they're gonna play them a lot tougher and closer. So give me the Bears in the 6 points.
LA Rams at Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a good matchup here. We've got 2 desperate NFC West teams who started off the season 0-1 here. Both had chances to win against good teams in week 1. I really like what I saw from the LA Rams in that loss to Detroit. I was impressed by Matt Stafford. I was impressed by Cooper Kupp. I was impressed by this young defense. I think the Rams find a way to get it done here. I like their quarterback matchup. I think they've got the edge at that position. I think they clearly have the edge at the head coaching position. And I like these young defensive players. I think this is a close game. And I know the Rams have lost some big-time players here to injury already. This team's really kind of beat up. But give me the Rams on the road here to get the win.
And I'm going to stick with what I've been saying since the beginning of this season. And when we were going through our picks, I am going to take the Cardinals here. There's a reason it's the Cardinals are giving 1 point. It's at home. And fantasy alert, daily fantasy alert, however you want to look at it, prop bet alert, take Marvin Harrison. They are going to force the ball to Marvin Harrison, and we're going to see who this guy is in this game. This is a game where I look to possibly see Marvin Harrison take this game over and Kyler Murray start to be the person that I believe he is. And also, small fantasy alert, keep an eye on Trey Benson. It's a good tandem there with Connor and Trey Benson, but we know Connor has a propensity to get hurt. Watch out for Trey Benson if this game gets really tight.
Yeah, this one kind of similar to the other division matchup that we talked about earlier, Bills, Dolphins. I'm leaning a little bit into history here. The Rams have really owned the Cardinals. They've won 13 of the last 15 matchups. I think history repeats itself here, but this should be a good one. New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are a 6.5 point favorite in this one. I'm a little surprised by this line. I know they're at home. I know they looked really good. And I know the Saints blew out a bad Carolina Panthers team, but the Saints look pretty impressive in week 1, too. That defense looks like it could be for real. I know Derek Carr has been an up and down quarterback for a lot of his career here, but he looked really sharp last week. The Cowboys offense looked sharp. Look, the Cowboys defense was really getting after it in week 1. I think this game could be really close here. So for me, this isn't necessarily about picking against Dallas or anything. I just think 6.5 points is too big of a point spread. I think Dallas probably finds a way to win at home, but give me the Saints plus 6.5 because I think this could be closer than people think.
Not a believer in the Saints at all. I just think they were playing the Panthers, and the Panthers are awful, which is why I picked them to have the number 1 pick in the draft again this year. I think this is a game where we'll see the connection of Dak and CeeDee Lamb, and perhaps even a breakout game for one Rico Dwaddle as well. I don't think the Saints stand a chance. I know they are a veteran group over there on defense, but I don't believe they have a chance, nor do I believe that they have any way, shape, or form anyone on that team, including Fuaga, that can stop Micah Parsons.
Did you know that Pint Glass Football is more than just this podcast? We have an exclusive newsletter. Sign up for free at pintglassfootball.com to receive articles and insights delivered straight to your inbox. But wait, there's more. We're excited to announce our brand new YouTube channel. Not only can you listen to our podcast on YouTube, but you'll also find exclusive video content waiting for you. So hit the pause button right now and go subscribe to our newsletter and hit that subscribe button on YouTube to stay connected with the latest football news and our exclusive content. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. We personally love the pick'em game. Just pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Download the Underdog Fantasy app and sign up today with promo code PGF. That's promo code PGF to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. The official ticketing app of Pint Glass Football is now SeatGeek. I can't recommend them enough, guys. I've been using SeatGeek for years. You want to go to a game this season? SeatGeek is here to take the confusion out of buying tickets, making sure you get the best seats at the best prices. With SeatGeek, you'll never have to worry about overpaying for tickets again. How? They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket, so you know you're getting a good deal. But here's the real game changer. You can get $20 off your first ticket purchase with the code PGFPOD. That's right, $20 off with code PGFPOD. This season, make every game day epic with SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app and remember to enter the code PGFPOD to grab your $20 discount. Let's take a look at some of the top college football games this weekend, starting with the Friday night matchup. This might be the best matchup of the whole weekend. Number 20 Arizona, number 14 Kansas State. It's actually kind of weird. This isn't technically a Big 12 game. Apparently, these teams already had scheduled a home and home before Arizona had left the Pac-12. So in some kind of weird way, this doesn't actually technically is not a Big 12 game, but whatever. This is basically going to go a long ways in determining who could be the best team in this conference. We know this is kind of a wide open conference this year. Both teams have looked really good. Kansas State's offense, just a really good rushing game. Quarterback Avery Johnson, running backs DJ Giddens, Dylan Edwards. This is a team that can really move the football on the ground. I like what I've seen from Arizona as well to start the year. Their defense has been really good stopping the run. So this is a really fun matchup, Alex. Now, right now, I'm looking at Kansas State at home as a 7-point favorite in this one. Kansas State is a team that a lot of people picked in the preseason to win this conference. But Arizona was a team that we talked about this summer, Alex, and we said this could be a boom or bust team and maybe a team to circle that isn't getting talked about. Who do you like in this matchup, and who are you taking on the betting line?
I am going to take Kansas State on the betting line. I mean, those of us who have been playing NCAA 25 know that DJ Giddens is a beast in the game, and I expect him to have a solid game because, like you said, Arizona has a very good run defense, but I still expect them to pull some things off here. Actually, I take Kansas State to win, but I'm going to take Arizona in the 7.
Alex, I'm with you here. I've got Arizona +7. I think this game is close. I think this could be a really fun matchup in a back and forth game here. How about number 16 LSU at South Carolina? Look, LSU hasn't looked very good to start the year. They began the year with that loss to USC, a game which they led late, ended up giving it away. LSU Tigers are now going to be traveling to South Carolina. This is going to be the ESPN College Game Day, big time atmosphere. They haven't been to South Carolina in a long time. South Carolina is 2-0, coming off of that big road win against Kentucky. They've looked really sharp. This is a team that loves to run the ball. What do you see in this matchup here? Because I think this is a scary upset alert here for the LSU Tigers. Look, if this season starts to go off the rails here, Brian Kelly, his seat could actually start to heat up here.
Yeah, this is one of these games where it's like going to look like old school Georgia Tech or Notre Dame where they just run the ball consistently. I think they perhaps can be a bit too physical for LSU. I mean, LSU does have a stud that was projected to be at least 2 years ago, Brad, maybe, and Harold Perkins being a top 10 pick. This defense was bad last year, but they haven't been able to maximize him as a player as well. And as physical as South Carolina is shaping up to be, I don't think LSU can match their physicality. Definitely going to take South Carolina in the 7th for sure. It's going to be closer than anybody thinks because, like I said, the physicality of that team and the way they're playing the game is not conducive for LSU to kind of run away with this one. I'm going to take South Carolina in the points.
Yeah, I like South Carolina +7, and I think this could be a spot, like I said, for a possible upset alert here. South Carolina maybe knocks off LSU. Circle the name Dylan Stewart. This guy's a true freshman. He has been awesome the first 2 weeks. This is a former 5-star recruit, edge defender, heck of a pass rusher. Watch this guy play because he is going to be a good one, guys, so circle that name. Number 4, Alabama at Wisconsin, SEC Big Ten matchup. Look, Alabama last week had a game against USF, came down to the wire. That's 2 years in a row that they've struggled against USF, and it kind of makes you wonder how good is this Crimson Tide team. Now, we know this is a new regime here. Kalen DeBoer took over. Nick Saban now in the media, which, by the way, he's been great on game day. I really enjoy his commentary on there. But look, this is a new Alabama team. This is a spot here where, look, they're a 16-point favorite heading into this game. But on the road, jump around, the fans, the crowd. We know Madison, Wisconsin is a tough place to play here. Is there any chance that Wisconsin makes this closer than the experts think?
Absolutely not. Now, I will say this in terms of USF, it didn't necessarily come down to the wire. What happened was it was close in the first half, and then Alabama decided to put the clamps down and ended up beating them 42-16. But you're correct. In that first half, it was very close. And if you look at Wisconsin, over the past 2 weeks. They haven't really been handling anybody with extreme ease. I mean, it was a 2-score game between them and Western Michigan, and then last week against South Dakota, only 27-13. So they've been playing, I would at least say for them, lower tier teams, and they've been able to hang around. You're not going to be able to play around with Alabama, because when they decide to put the clamps on, especially when they decide they want to run the ball, you're not going to be able to handle them. So I'm going to take Alabama and lay the 16 points here.
Yeah, I guess I should have reworded that, because Alabama was really kind of clinging to a 5-point lead with about 6 minutes to go before they really pulled away in that game. The score was definitely not a good indicator of how close of a game that was. But I think this is an interesting matchup here. I think 16 might be too many points here. Look, Wisconsin has one of the best secondaries in the country. I think they could give Milroe some problems here and maybe create a couple turnovers, possibly a pick six, some defensive plays here that could keep this game closer than people expect. I think Alabama finds a way to win, but I think this is going to be a hostile environment and a fired up underdog here who finds a way to make this game closer than 16. So give me Wisconsin at home plus 16 points. Alex, I know there's a game that you're circling this weekend. Colorado, Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders going up against in-state rival Colorado State. If you guys remember last year, this was a game that went triple overtime. It was an absolute thriller. Colorado pulled it out late. What do you think happens here in the rematch, so to speak, Alex, this week?
Well, one of the things that Shedeur Sanders, and I believe his father did, well, actually, I believe Shedeur said it, that he stated coming into this season that they are everyone's Super Bowl, which is an untrue statement. However, for Colorado State, you are definitely their Super Bowl. We know they had a few guys who had an opportunity to transfer that decided to stay. We know that you are, for them, are a rivalry, and that they know that you think you're better than them. They're going to be laser focused. I have some thoughts about Shedeur Sanders. He's regressed. He started out the first half of that game against North Dakota State that he was very good. He stepped up in the pocket, but then for the rest of the game and then last week's game against Nebraska, he reverted back to the old Shedeur Sanders. And I believe that Colorado State coming in, this is their Super Bowl for them, and they coming in and they mean business. On the Colorado side, I had Shedeur. Obviously, he was a top one of the top three quarterbacks talked about. He, for me, has since moved out. This is now Cam Ward that is in the top three, and I now have Shedeur Sanders, maybe perhaps a top 15, but definitely a first round pick, but definitely not in the top 10. And with that being said, I'm going to take Colorado State and the 7 points, but Colorado State is going to beat them either way. But I'm going to take the 7 points in Colorado State here.
Man, I like it, Alex. I think this is a team that bounces back here. After Nebraska and that tough loss, I think they find a way to get it done against the Colorado State team that, look, they're going to be feisty. They're going to be hungry. We know that. They feel like little brother, big brother situation here. They're going to want to get some revenge against Colorado and all the hype around this program. Those things are all certainly true, and I think this game could be close. So I'm with you on Colorado State plus 7. I think there is a little bit of value there. I think this line is only about a touchdown for a reason, but I think Colorado finds a way to get it done because I think there's a talent deficit here. I just don't know if they have the guys to hang with Colorado in this one. Alex, the last game that I want to highlight here for college football, Oregon State, the Civil War matchup here, teams that have been playing each other for over 100 years. First time ever that this is going to be a non-conference game early in the year. This game is in Corvallis. The Ducks are going to go on the road. Look, they're 2-0. They're ranked in the top 10. This is a team that came into the year with a lot of hype, number 3 ranking to start the year, and they've slid in the rankings because of 2 shaky performances, one against FCS Idaho, which they barely beat, and then they squeaked out a win against Boise State. Now, look, nothing against Boise State. They're a very good group of 5 team. But if you're really a top 10 team, you should have handled them easily. Now you're going up against an Oregon State team that, look, might not have the talent that you have, but they are going to be super hungry for this win. This is their Super Bowl. To your point earlier, Alex, about Colorado State, they know this is absolutely the biggest game on their schedule. Not only is it a huge rivalry game for them and their fan base are absolutely fired up that Oregon was one of the teams that, quote unquote, broke up this conference and left Oregon State and Washington State, pretty much left them for dead. This is a fan base that is going to be absolutely crazy. This atmosphere is going to be electric. You are going to have a tough road environment here for Oregon, in a team that just, quite frankly, has not looked like the team we expected, against a team with a major chip on their shoulder. Give me Oregon State here, plus 16, and this is a huge upset alert here, guys. I think there's a legit chance that Oregon State ruins the Duck season here in Corvallis.
I'm actually going to go in the opposite direction here. I think Dan Lanning understands where this team is at after the first 2 weeks, or rather after the first two games, and he knows that he's on upset. Well, rather his team is on upset alert. So I expect Oregon to come in focused, to have and this is not necessarily a statement game in a sense, because this is not a ranked team. However, I think he knows that his team needs a statement win for them internally, and I expect them to win this and win this outright. I'm going to take Oregon and lay to 16.
If you enjoy the podcast, do us a favor and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. This is Pint Glass Football, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Pint Glass Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at PGF Podcast.
Zencastr is the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. It provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Zencastr's post-production process takes the headache out of audio production. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with a click of a button. Coordinating all your guests to record in person is painful and tedious. Easily invite up to 11 participants per recording with one click. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code PGFP, and you'll get 30% off your first 3 months of Zencastr Professional. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.